Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Yahweh is who we call God or Jehovah. Yahweh means he exists. And Yahweh Shai is who we either call Jesus Christ. Yahweh Shai means he saves, he delivers. And double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone. And salutation to all the archim that's pushing the truth all cut and raw. We can let come to third come astrology is your brother coming not from GMS Miami Camp on another lesson. Shameful, spewing upon his glory. You know what I'm speaking of is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, what he have did unto the children of Israel, especially northern tribe here in Babylon, the great America, where this guy goes into breeding farms. Breeding farms where you had bucks, where they see that had strong physiques, was tall, so they can breed male slaves. Are able to, work, and that's one of the stains upon this man's history, this slave trade, and also, here is how they treated the slaves here. All right, you also had motherfucker, but that's another topic. We had a son fuck his mom, so you get the motherfucker. All right, also breaking a man that was strong, or that was an alpha in a sense. All right, broke him down in front of his family, his wife. And you think a woman gonna be able to respect you after that? After you just got raped? But this is this man's history, all right. And this is what they're been trying to hide and trying to run away from. But this was your history, like you said. This was something that you took pride in. This is something you glorified, all right. But now you have people going into the real history and exposing it. All right, now you're like being showed that you were the people of wicked. All right, so wicked people, any humane person, all right, would do certain things like what he did. That's why the scriptures say he afforded the affliction, man. And you got a lot to pay for, buddy. All right, you're not just gonna walk in the sunset. You're just not gonna thinking that you're not gonna be repaid or recompensed for it, man. You're gonna get judged, and that's why this place, America, that's Babylon the Great, is gonna get 200 million nuclear warheads to cleanse this land, because this land is defiled. Blood, as in numbers, blood defiled the land, and the only way for it to cleanse that land that was defiled by the blood, by the people that you blood that you shed, is by your blood being shed. All right. That's how you clean this blood. That's why it's gonna be a great judgment. Here in Bosra. Bosra is a place in Mount Seir, but modern day Bosra will be here, as I believe Isaiah 34 will go into. All right, it's a great sacrifice in Bosra. So let's let this video play.
You know what plantation they've never shown us, Abby? The most prominent ones, the ones that were most profitable, the breeding plantations. Why don't you want to show us those?
See, breeding plantations.
Because after the research that I did for this album, you realize that the moment that a girl menstruated, she was put in a stable where a horse would be and forcibly mated by a male of the slave master's choice. And when she had children, they weren't called children, they were called a litter of pups. The punishment they were killing a person in medieval Spain is gelding. Gelding is when you
regal people. We the children of the Most High, the sons of the Most High. We're Israelites. Yahshua, he's the Prince of Power, but they treated us like we was nobody. But that was also the judgment of Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai of us not keeping our end of our bargain, the covenant we made with him. All right, so that was part of the curses.
Take hot pincers and you take a man's balls and
king. Cruel king. All right.
Take off root and stem. Killing a person.
Perpetual hatred for you.
Law of the Bible, right? Medieval Spain, super religious. You killed a man, he should be killed. Why were indigenous and black people categorized as subhuman? So under the law, you would not be punished for the things that you did to us. That's why. You used to be proud, right? You used to be proud, white America, of America used to be proud of.
All right. After they hang a nigga, he was on fire, put him on fire. They also used to gather together, take a picture, and they used to show and send it to a family member that's probably a friend, probably on the other side of town or another state. They took pride in that, man. But now they're trying to hide from it. Now let bygones be bygones. But the Lord didn't forget. First and foremost, the Lord didn't forget. You touched the apple of his eye. All right? You touched the apple of the Most High. Yahweh Bashim al-Shai. Yahweh, all right, so we call God of Jehovah. All right? And Yahweh Shai is what we call Jesus Christ. You touched the apple of his eye. The Israelites. You didn't just do this to regular people. All right? You did it to the children of Israel. All right? And here, you had your foot upon the neck of Judah. That's the hair tribe. That's where Yahweh Shai, the tribe Yahweh Shai come from. All right?
Colonization. You used to, wow, that made us tough. And then you got ashamed of it. And that's what you're dealing with. That's what America's dealing with, a schizophrenic crisis. There's a British manual, right, that was taken out of the British Museum because within the manual, it talked about how it was a weapon of war that should be used against the indigenous population. You're ashamed of that now.
Especially when they also get to Gad and Reuben. Gad would be Native American, Reuben would be the Seminole Indians. All right. Andrew Jackson, the Trails of Tears, had them walk all the way from Florida all the way to Oklahoma. Oklahoma. All right, there's a lot of things you got to pay for, man. All right, and that's why the judgment of Babylon the Great America is. That's why the judgment is where the judgment is at, because y'all did a lot, man. All right, there's a lot of shit that we don't even know, and the Lord is gonna let us know. It's gonna be revealed to us what this devil really did, man. All right, we just know a little bit.
Right? Who was Christopher Columbus? His image has been so whitewashed, but he was trafficking little girls on an island. Who does that sound like, huh? All you right-wing defenders of Christopher Columbus and his legacy?
Island, right?
He was trafficking 9-year-old...
Epstein's is a fucking Edomite. And an Amalekite on top of it. Amalekite, those 1948ers.
Indigenous girls on an island. Who does that remind you of, you intellectual coward? Just because liberals are dog shit doesn't mean that you shake hands with the devil, right? The same way I tell people all the time who are white working class people who hear about reparations for black people and automatically get upset. They hear the word Africa and they're furious already. But the problem is this. The money doesn't come from you. No, it comes from the financial institutions that banked and built their stock exchange on labor, on the payback that they got from slavery. Because reparations is not actually what African people are asking for in this country. African American people are
your money. All right, we want your blood to be shed. All right, we want you to be going slavery. All right, for 1,000 years. When this is gonna happen, y'all gonna go to slavery under the Israelites for 1,000 years. So-called white man, you Edomites, and the rest of you nations too. All right, because all y'all was in the league. All right, with this fucking devil. All right.
Asking for the other half of reparations. You see, America already paid reparations at the end of the Civil War to slave owners. They gave them money per black person that they let free, and they refused to honor the people that were actually victimized. So until you do that, you will always be cursed, America. And you can call me a communist, a socialist, but you know what? It doesn't matter what you call me. You know that I'm right. Right?
That's why this place,
and you know that I stand more for.
This place is gonna be made desolate. All right, nobody's gonna inhabit this land anymore. All right, that's why it goes into desert animals and stuff like that is gonna live here. All right, it's not gonna be inhabited anymore. All right.
Indigenous rights than I do for the European.
Of how a place, when a place is wicked and the foul and nasty. All right, this is the judgment of wickedness.
Interpretation of a left-wing ideology that doesn't always work in a cookie-cutter scenario when you plug it into Latin America. Because at the end of the day, that was still being pushed by two large governmental entities that wanted to challenge the United States' control of the region. We're tired of being pawns.
So let's go into those, some scriptures. All right. Start at shameful spewing. So be upon his glory. Because that's something that these Edomites here in America were proud of, man. All right. That's what they were proud of, man. All right. They took pride in that. That's why they had statues of Confederate, down south, Confederate generals and stuff like that. And that's why they had Teddy Roosevelt with Southern tribe on one side and Northern tribe on one side. And he got him. He's on a horse and they on chains. And that's scriptural. I have seen Prince. I have seen There's Ecclesiastes. Let me read this first. We'll go do that. Habakkuk 2 and 16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. That's why it was going around around the country putting down them statues, because that statue shows the awful and the stain upon their history. All right. And you got Israelites out there telling you that you're gonna get just for for 16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. So the Lord is showing us who you really are. All right, the basis, the vile man. All right. So you being made bare. We're going to Jeremiah 49. Uncovered, the cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be in of thy glory. So shameful spewing. All right, everybody looking at it. I was watching some jakes are starting to buy plantations. You still got plantations. You got one where people have weddings at. I forgot where exactly is that. All right. You still got slave houses on these plantations. All right, but Lord is making you barren and shameful, spewing on your glory. Things that was American pride, Edomite pride, is becoming shameful. It's becoming shameful. All right, well, you had this guy's going into a breeding farm. Looked at you as a fucking animal, less than an animal, man. All right, but that's part of the shameful spewing upon his glory. That's what they took pride in. All right, but now the Lord is exposing them. I remember at the time they was trying to get slavery taken out the books, or saying that the slaves came here willingly. All right, because it's shame. All right, to do something to inhumane to another people like that. Now, this is the worst slave. It's been slaves, but the transatlantic slave trade. That was gruesome. That was bad. And they ain't try to justify it because you're subhuman. Your IQ is low. All type of bullshit, man. All right. So Jeremiah 49 and 10. But I have made Esau bare, have uncovered his secret places. He shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. So the Lord is making Esau bare, man. All right, bare. All right, bare. All right, making him bare, making him naked. All right, naked. Fuck nigga, man. How you treated our people, man? It makes me angry. All right, but hey, the Lord said, you gotta wait for him till he take the prey. All right. Okay. Until he make us battle axe and weapons of war. All right. But Esau, you gonna pay, man. You gonna pay. You gonna pay. You gonna pay. You gonna pay. The Lord ain't forget. That eye for eye, tooth for a tooth. What that is? 2 Thessalonians 1 and 16 is a righteous thing thing with God to recompense, pay back tribulation to them that trouble you. So you troubled us. And you're going to get your payback. It's going to be 1,000 years of slavery. That's why I say give them double. And you're going to drink the dregs thereof. You're going to drink the dregs thereof. And on top of it, we're going to have spiritual powers, man. You're going to have spiritual powers, man. All right? And I'm going to end it. I'm going to read Revelations for you Christians. Revelations 13:9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity, you led the so-called Negros, Latinos, and the Americans into captivity, shall go into captivity. He that killeth with a sword must be killed with the sword. And here is the patience and faith of the saints. And we believe it. We expect it. We just waiting for it. All right? We just waiting for it. You know? Call alarm like about Shameful shot. We just waiting for it. We waiting for it. All right? But Lord is exposing this devil, man. You know? So I hope this